Hi everybody, welcome to Real Product Strategy, the show where we take your favorite fictional products from your favorite shows, analyze their competitive positioning in their markets, and craft them a long-term strategy for company growth. I'm your host, product management and business strategy professional, Tom Prime, and let's see what's on our airwaves today. So, today we're going to talk about Pied Piper from Silicon Valley on HBO, or at least the very first version of it. Pied Piper, throughout the show's history, very famously evolves quite often. So we're going to work through those over time and maybe over a series of episodes. But today we're going to talk about the original focus of it. So Pied Piper, originally created by Richard Hendricks at the beginning of the show, it was an app that helps musicians identify if their song is similar to other songs, which on its surface, it could be valuable to a few others, especially if you're someone who maybe you're creating a playlist and you want similar sounding songs throughout the playlist. That can be valuable, right? Or it is, maybe you just want to make, as a musician, you want to create something original. That could be very exciting. And at its core, it compares music to other songs. So let's look at the jobs to be done here for this one. So the original product of Pied Piper is the jobs to be done is, as a user, I want to identify songs that are similar to another song. And when we think about it, just comparing music and comparing song similarities, at its core, it's a very niche use case, right? There might be value there for a larger company somewhere, but in terms of individual consumers, there probably aren't a lot of individuals who are really using this. There's not a strong economic case here, right? So, because it's not, there's not a clear glaring need that could be applied across multiple use cases. What we're seeing here is that this company, at its surface and its first form, is not economically viable, or it shouldn't be economically viable, right? And so, when a company is deemed, or its product is not economically viable in the marketplace, it comes time for a pivot. And that's what we're going to focus on today, is when is the best time to pivot a product. And what we're going to take there is looking at a jobs to be done, understanding a product, and how to adjust our jobs to be done in the case to make the best pivot. So here, when we're looking at our given product, right, and we identify we have a use case and we need to make a strong pivot because our product might not be, it's not economically viable for this time. There just isn't that demand there. So the initial thought is, when we're looking at a product, is identify what do we do best and how could we maximize on what we do best. And we have to take what we do best and we have to pivot it towards other market needs, so to a problem that can be addressed elsewhere. And so when we look at this throughout all our own companies, whether that might be, the usual go-to place is looking at, especially in tech, is looking at your underlying technology. What does it do really, really, really well? And how can you take what it does, that technology does really, really well, and apply it to other things, right? So we've seen this across the board in a variety of different fields. This happens all the time. So in this case, in the example of the show, what was identified that the company did really, really, really well is they compressed the file size of the music down so that they could effectively compare it much easier and much quicker. And obviously from there, it was very clear that the market also identified this, right? In the very first episode, there's a bidding war between Peter Gregory and Galvin Belson, and they're bidding it up over $10 million of valuation on a company that on the surface doesn't have economic viability. When they quickly learn about the underlying benefits of the code, like, oh, we could use this for so many other things. And that's why Pied Piper eventually becomes becomes a compression company, eventually focusing on middle-out compression specifically. So going off of that, so they identified what makes them strongest, or really the market identified what made them a solid company, what made them strongest, what made them have the strongest ability to grow. So understanding that, that's really how understanding that strength is why the product in the market continued to evolve throughout the show's history, right? You went from just basic middle-out compression, you then eventually talked to some streaming, talked to Piper Chat, and then it talked about the box as well, the Pied Piper box, and then it talked about just internet, Pied Piper internet as well. So there's all of these things where file compression, the ability to compress files over a network, over all these different things would help out, right? So there's a lot of benefits there. And so understanding the new jobs to be done as a user, I want the ability to reduce my computing storage footprint. It's simply the ability to compress files. I want to compress my files more and better than anything else. There's a lot more applications in file compression across multiple industries, multiple fields, and because it has a significantly larger jobs to be done. Obviously, throughout the show's history, it's clearly identified that Pied Piper, in a compression, from a compression standpoint, is a much better it's a much more economically viable company long term. And that's what a successful pivot is. It's about making sure your underlying products are suiting more market need. And that's really what it is. And that's really the core of product management, is taking your core product and identifying how you help out other companies more. And it's very simple. I mean, it can get a little complex, but at its core, it's about how do you help the most people with their current problems. So kind of going off to the fun side of it, if I was in Richard Hendricks' shoes and I was eventually forced my company to pivot from a music company to a compression company, would I have done anything different? The answer is no, not at all. It made total sense to do that. Granted, it was the investors that really forced it to convert to compression first with the underlying technology, using it across multiple different things, multiple different products. But that's what did it. It's just really having that deeper understanding of that core technology, having it evolve. And that's why throughout the show it evolves from video streaming, video chat, network appliances, network solutions, improved internet, email, handheld devices, and it was effective. And it kind of also speaks to the show's writing. So Silicon Valley very famously did a ton of research when writing the show, and it just shows. And they did a great job, and I can't bash them at all, and I can't say would I do anything different, because essentially because of the way the show worked, they did a great job, and they did exactly the best way to evolve the Pied Piper product throughout its history. So going off of that, we'll probably look at Pied Piper more further in future episodes, in just different iterations of it. With that being said, if you think your company needs help with their product management roles, or needs to make a pivot, or just needs some friendly advice, connect with me here on LinkedIn. This is my QR code, and obviously that's what my friendly face looks like right now. It might change over time, but that's what it looks like. And let's talk further. Let's continue this conversation. Anyways, my name's Tom Prime. Thank you again for tuning in, and I cannot wait to share our next episode with you. Oh, and by the way, this is a palapa, just like Erlich Bachman loves in the show, with 4 posts, pretty tall. And yes, we are on the beach. So I'm having a good day today. But anyways, thank you very much, and stay tuned in the future. All right, bye.